Threats to deploy the National Guard to Chicago could come to fruition, according to the Washington Post, with possible plans to deploy as soon as September.
And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one.
Governor J.B. Pritzker saying in a statement tonight, in part, quote, Donald Trump is attempting to manufacture a crisis. Despite these calls, Chicago police data shows violent crime is down in comparison to this time last year.
African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago.
Venters, I hope you're having a wonderful Monday, a wonderful start to your week. Guys, there's a really neat experiment that's going on right now in America with this military presence that President Trump has in Washington, D.C.
I remember going to the gas station in D.C. even just a month ago. And I would never do this. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. It's quiet. It's safe out here, man. Safe. I remember a few months ago, my brother had his door open. Somebody carjacked him right here in Northeast, right up the street, actually. Got carjacked. My SUV got taken. Yo, y'all hear the helicopters out here? Oh, yeah, we got the helicopters out here. Like, yeah. DC is safe.
The people of Chicago are begging him to come there next. So ABC News did a sit-down interview with Lori Lightfoot. Well, I guess it's not sit-down. I think she was there virtually. But either way, they asked her what her feelings were on President Trump having the National Guard visit Chicago next.
It's painful to have a president who lives in his own fantasy world. Nobody here in Chicago is asking him to come.
And she was basically saying that the numbers for violent crimes are down considerably in Chicago. And from what I understand, as crazy as Chicago is, I believe the crime numbers were even much higher in Washington, D.C. So I suppose if you compare it to D.C., they're not as bad. But my thinking is, let's let the National Guard come in for 30 days and give the people of Chicago a really nice month where they don't have to worry about crime. One of the comments in the video, it was really, really long, so I didn't want to write it down, but it was a woman's comment, and she brought up something that I thought was really interesting. She said, well, isn't there a National Guard unit in each and every state? And I believe there is, right? And so my thinking is, they always used to run National Guard commercials on the TV when I was growing up. And it said something like 2 weekends a month and 2 weeks a year, right? So everybody's on their National Guard duties like, 30 or 40 days each and every year. My thinking is, what better purpose to use the National Guard than for these cleanup operations? Now, if I look at it from my 1985 goggles of when I was a kid, it kind of reminds me of when we went down to Mexico and you would see the Federale there in their green uniforms, right? And it just kind of has a gnarly military look to it. And I could see certain people in Chicago thinking that's not the coolest look, right? And it's not like you want that presence there forever. But again, I think when you think about the other option, which is just to keep doing what you are doing, which is obviously failing. Another thing that really scares me is we were always told growing up that you could trust the statistics. But now that we know that at least in DC, they were taking hard crimes that were felonies and they were putting them down at lower tier levels so they don't have to report them to the federal statistics at the FBI. Guys, that's doctoring the books, that's doctoring the numbers, That's why people in charge that are doing a horrible job can always show you some numbers that makes it look like they're doing a heck of a job. And I think that's just scary and wrong. And I think that's what people in Chicago have probably been dealing with people like Mayor Lori Lightfoot. And then what, didn't they get rid of Lori for Brandon, what is it, Brandon Thomas or Brandon Williams, whatever his name is? He's worse. He looks lost when they ask him questions. He ignores people.
Over the weekend, ICE arrested an illegal alien named Jose Luis Mendoza Gonzalez, who had been released by a Safety Act judge he was charged with concealing a body of a 37-year-old mother of two, Megan Boss, decapitated, her body abused in a dumpster, a bleach-filled dumpster on this man's property, right?
Okay.
You have stated over and over and over again that you don't want ICE in Chicago. If that had been Stacy, if that had been your wife Stacy's body that had been decapitated, abused.
That's not an appropriate question, yeah.
It's a very real people. The people of Chicago are asking me to ask you this very specific question. Had that been your wife Stacy, would you want ICE to pick up this illegal alien?
I'm not going to entertain your question.
I live in Arizona. There was a time in my life where I would have never thought twice about crime in DC, Chicago, New York City. I wouldn't have cared about that stuff. But that's because when I was growing up, most people got their news at the local level. Well, we haven't been watching local news for decades now. We watch everything on a federal or national level. And I think crime is starting to bum out everybody. And I mean everybody. There's a lot of people that they've been interviewing in the DC area. And at first it was one or two people, but I've seen like probably a good 8 or 9 interviews that they've had. All the people there seem to love it.
The station, it was different. See, I'm from DC, I live here. So I can tell you, I can be honest, I'm not gonna lie to you. It was nice. I don't even want to leave. Union State, they literally, it feels different. Like usually when I walk through, it's got this darkness. It's like you're walking through some sort of demi hood at night. And now it feels more light, upbeat. It definitely feels safe. But see, I can say that because I'm from here. A lot of people that are here protesting, they're not from here. They don't even live here. So they wouldn't know on a day-to-day basis like I would and some of the other DC natives.
And they say stuff that's really sad. I don't know if you've heard this, but in some of the interviews, they make it sound like, hey, I'm leaving my door open here at the gas station. I couldn't do that before. And they're being serious. Could you imagine always having to keep your guard up every time you're at the gas station, even if it's in the middle of broad daylight? There's something really wrong about that. So when Lori Lightfoot talks, when Brandon, the mayor of Chicago, I'm sorry, his name escapes me now. I feel like it's Brandon Thomas or Brandon Williams or something. Anyway, when they talk, you almost feel like they're okay with the crime. Does anybody else get that vibe? Again, I think we all know where they're coming from. You don't want to look like you live in a military state, but sometimes you have to look and you have to say, you know what? Where you live, the crime rate is so high, you're not able to handle it. And if you're not able to handle it, and every state has a National Guard unit ready to go, why the hell aren't we calling in the people that are already on the payroll? Right? I mean, it's not like we have to pay them extra, do we? And even if we did, that's money well spent. I think if you ask people, hey, are you okay with your taxes going to solving crime, not talking about solving it with social workers and bullshit like that, but actually solving it, I think everybody would be cool with that. Here's the crazy thing. I don't know if this number is still holding up, but 2 or 3 days ago, I heard that DC hit day 7 with no homicides. What if they end up going 30 days without a homicide? I think every city should crave that. I think Republicans are being made every single day in Washington, D.C. I really do. The ABC News guy, the reporter, he asked Mayor Lightfoot, he said, Trump is promising, or some would say threatening, that after DC, he's going to come to Chicago, LA, New York City, you know, some of these inner city places, Memphis, right? And she said,
well, it's obvious, isn't it? They're all Democratic cities, and in many of those cities, they're all controlled by Black mayors, and many of them at that time run by Black women.
I don't think the statistics lie. I think they can be stretched and abused, and I think these cities are really good at doing that. But I think, once again, I think it's unsafe in every one of those cities. It really is. I think people in all those cities want Trump to come, and I hope he does. I really hope he does. I would honestly love it if any of you watching this that considers themselves left-leaning or a Democrat, I would love it if you would say something in the comments along the lines of, I think it's great. I think it's a good move. I think when we go weeks at a time with nobody dying in an area where most people die daily, that's a good thing. I think there's going to be a big percentage of Democrats that just never vote Democrat again. I think this is an experiment that's going to turn a lot of people Republican. I really get into this because it's one of the few social experiments that I've kind of seen happen in real time. I mean, if you guys really think about this, I've never heard of military going in other than in movies, right? Where they've got martial law. Well, now we know. Our government had the ability to snuff out crime. They always have had it. I guess that's the thing that's so irritating. If we have, what do we have in this country? I'm just guessing off the top of my head that we have tens of thousands of murders and homicides every single year. Guys, you're telling me that we could have just arranged the National Guard and we could have cut homicides by 80 or 90%? Why aren't we doing that? Our National Guard is supposed to protect us, right, at the local level in times of war or whatever. Oh my God. We're losing tens of thousands of people to homicides, for Pete's sake. And of course, she brought up the idea that he's just a tyrant. He wants the people of Chicago to bend to his will, and the people of Chicago will never bend to Donald Trump's will. Stan Smith, 9971, says, hopefully they can get the federal troops in all the Black neighborhoods like Garfield Park, Inglewood, Austin, South Shore, Humboldt Park, etc. I'm from these neighborhoods and we need all the law enforcement we can get. The Chicago police are lazy and rarely even get out of their patrol cars. Stan, I don't know if you guys remember this at all. And I think it was in Chicago, but it might have been in Detroit. But either way, it was in one of these major cities. They showed a cop car with 2 female officers. And they were doing some sort of arrest. And the guy in the other car got out and started shooting at them. And they got in their police car and literally ran away.
They pull up on a dude in front of the cops and shoot at the man. He got hit a couple times.
Suspended, another on medical leave after apparently fleeing the scene of a shooting that unfolded right in front of them. Sources tell me it happened near Schoolcraft in Greenfield back on June 30th.
This incident is troubling.
It's really scary. There's a lot of places where the cops aren't even brave enough to get out of their cars. That's what this comment is saying. And I saw firsthand how these 2 female officers, and again, it might not have been in Chicago, could have been in Arkansas for all I know, but the point is still valid. You have to have a certain level of courage and bravery as a police officer. You can't just hire every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Nancy. And I'm telling you, if you run away like the way these 2 female officers did, you should get your badge stripped from you immediately. And all these blue cities, their great plan revolves around more social workers. Guys, these people are so crazy and so violent that throwing social workers at them is literally like throwing Band-Aids at people that have bullet wounds. I mean, it's just crazy. Nolly, Nellie J3855 says they want crime. That's what's so crazy. The Democrat fighting points have been so against Donald Trump that they no longer have any good ideas. They would rather have Trump not come, and they'll deal with the dozen or so murders that they'll get on any given month. That's what's so crazy. You're right, Nellie. They literally want crime. That's why I really think this is that pivotal point for a lot of middle-of-the-line Democrats. Make that jump. Get out of that party. That party is the party of destruction, grief, and sadness. Island Vibe says, I'm sorry. As a moderate Democrat, I prefer law and order, and the far-left policies are not popular with today's voters. It's time to wake up and rid our party of liberal lunacy. Island Vibes. That's your inner brain telling you, get out of that party. Your party is the party of lunacy. That's what's so crazy. In an attempt for everybody to be equal and happy, everyone became miserable and sad. That's the moral of the Democrat story. Orange man bad, orange man bad. I was listening to I Hit News, and that blonde-haired broad, all she talked about was the smoky eye of Vance and how Rush Limbaugh said that Donald Trump is in bad health.
Kankles McTaco Tits, the convicted felon president of the United States, health is in rapid decline. There is a massive cover-up going on at the White House regarding this.
God, most 80-year-old men aren't in the best of health, but he seems like he's got enough jazz in his system to last 3 more years. I mean, my goodness, she didn't talk once about the crime rate dropping to 0 in D.C. She wanted to talk about the smoky-eyed look that President Vance has.
Oh, with these drag queens. We're so upset about these drag queens. I have breaking news. J.D. Vance is a drag queen. There are photographs of it. He wasn't a very good one, but he still goes out in drag with the smoky eye. And so Donald Trump wears, no drag queen would ever dare not blend their makeup.
Well, of course.
But this is the biggest drag administration I've ever seen. I haven't even started on Kristi Noem.
That's what the left talks about. It's ridiculous, guys. Get out of that party. It's just goofy as hell. Ray Tipton says, why don't these mayors want to clean their cities up of the crime? It's mind-blowing. I know. And I want you guys to help me out here. When we send the National Guard, don't they already get paid based on their contract of 2 weekends a month and 2 weeks a year? I mean, could you imagine if he's doing this without spending very much money at all? Now, I'm saying that naively. He could be spending billions of dollars for this, for all I know. But again, if it's saving people's lives and cleaning up the city, I'm good with it, even if I never go to Washington, D.C. in my life. Tell me somebody agrees with me there, right? That we're willing to pay those taxes for a city that we'll never visit. I think it's awesome. Heller Jerry says, everyone thought that she, being Lori Lightfoot, was the worst mayor in the U.S., and then we ended up with someone even worse. Both took the city to their destruction. I would be embarrassed. Could you imagine you're a mayor, all the costs of everything you're doing go through the roof, and you don't have any results to show for it? God, they should be publicly disgraced. William Kissane, 4261, says, crime is down in Chicago if you don't count unalivings. I don't even trust the Democrats' numbers anymore. I really don't. I think there has to come a time where you just have to wake up and say, you know what? I'm on the bad guys' team, and I think the Democrat Party is just the bad guys' team. Now, if you guys never leave them, I haven't been able to talk a single family member of mine into leaving them. And I still love you, even if you are a Democrat. But I'm telling you, one of the biggest miracles that can happen in this world is a change of heart. And I'm telling you, you guys are this close to flipping over to the Republican side, because there's no way you guys can like that crime and disorder. And the Democrat Party is about loss and grief, and it's time to make a change. Hit subscribe for once. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.